let's talk about where we are and this coffee.
We are in Las Vegas, my home now, my new home, at Veggie Nation. And I love this place. I come here to meditate and plan and talk about goals with myself. You're the first person I brought here.
Yeah.
So,
oh, okay.
Yeah. So I
about
always
that all
come
the
here
time
by
now.
myself. Yeah.
And this is Peruvian.
This is Peruvian
And I need
coffee.
to add some more sugar too, because I have sugar in my creamer. So.
That's fine.
When do you drink coffee?
I drink coffee. I work. I get up at 1 in the morning. So the first thing I wake up and drink is lemon water, cold lemon water.
Cleanse.
So when I get, after my live hits, that's when I start drinking coffee around 10 o'clock. Around 10 o'clock, because I'm crashing.
So you don't. So
crashing
you
at
only
10.
drink it when you need it. You don't drink it like okay.
Yeah.
Everyone who watches this doesn't know your whole backstory. So give us the Vosat version for the TV people. The Vosat version, the short version of like how you got here.
Okay, so I went to school, got my degree in broadcast communications. I wanted to learn more, but I wanted to do it in a bigger city with more opportunities. So I decided to go to Chicago to get my master's. So while I was going to school, I was working 2 jobs and interning and doing all of that. It was a lot of no's before I decided to be in front of the camera, because for me, I was like, oh, I want to stay in Chicago and party, and then eventually I was like, oh, okay, I need to get serious. So I was working behind the scenes, and I had a lot of women in my life that were those angels that gave me the opportunity to go to NABJ. So I got a job from going to that journalism conference. And that was my first job, and it was all the way in California. So
Bakersfield.
yes, so it was big for me because when I moved to Chicago, Chicago was, okay, it's up the street from Cleveland, but going across the country by myself, that was hard. So I went to Bakersfield. I spent 3 years there. It was very challenging. A lot of ups and downs that no one knows about except for you and my
Yes.
close friends and family. And then I came here.
And now, how long have you been here now? A year?
No, 7 months.
Feels like a year. It
Yeah,
feels
it
like a
does.
little longer. Because when you landed your job at Bakersfield, like that was huge.
That was very big.
Yeah, that was like a big deal. And I remember that. Like that was a grind.
Yes.
That was a grind.
And then you get in it and you're like, is this really what I signed up for? Is this, you kind of lose, when you're going to day to day, you kind of lose sight of what your end goal is, or because you're dealing with everyday distractions, the noise, you're dealing with failures every day. So you're not really realizing, how far you come.
Yeah.
And for me, I always just try to ask God, order my steps, allow me to see what you're doing for me, but sometimes, it's hard. You're human. So I have fallen many times.
If you could talk a little bit too about your leap from Bakersfield to Vegas.
Yeah.
And to break it down, because a lot of people, don't get the whole TV thing, but you basically went, 50?
No, market 124 to market 39.
So you jumped like more than
50.
Yeah, markets.
Yeah.
Like up.
Yes.
So for people who like kind of don't get the TV thing.
In TV world, and I guess it's a stigma.
Yeah.
Because
market size doesn't matter. But the bottom line is you're in Vegas. You're one of the biggest cities in the country, and you're in the top 39 markets. So a lot more people are looking at you now. Like it was a big jump.
Yes.
So can you talk more about that whole trust time and like the Vosat version, because there was a lot that went into it.
There was a lot. First of all, getting a job in TV is not as easy as people think, okay? And you would think that it would be easy because you've already had that under your belt, but it's not. Yeah. So I'm like, my contract is over in October, and I'm racing against the clock. I'm getting so many no's. Nobody's calling me back. People are reading my emails, not saying anything back to me. And at this point, I'm questioning what I want to do. So I'm going back and forth like, I didn't like A, B, and C about news, and what if I do this now, and what if I get out of the business? It was even, I was scared that I was going to have to move back home It was a thing, like, and I was stressed out, literally. My hair fell out.
I remember you told me that.
And I just did not know what I was going to do. Mm-hmm. And then, literally, after my birthday in August, it was just like, things started rolling in, you know, Miami and Atlanta, like, just, you know, little
people
jobs.
Were interested.
Yeah, people were interested. And then I found out about this job through someone, and it just seemed like, you know, the news director at the time was just, she seemed like she knew my vision. She wanted to help me. And that's another thing I've learned because of Bakersfield. Leadership is very important. If you don't have somebody that believes in you, well, you can forget it.
What was it like to trust God during that time? Because I think when you make a leap, especially in this business, there is no place where you see you're going to land. And it's like your life. It's not like, oh, I'm just going to go down the street to a new job. Like, I'm moving. I'm already across the country, but I'm still not by my family. It's a life. It's a huge life change.
Yeah.
What was that like?
God and I went through so many different phases in our relationship. Because I was angry with him. I was like, are you going to come through? Hello? Are you listening to me? Like, what's going on? What's the stall about? And I went through a lot of doubt, but over and over again, I had very important people in my life tell me, listen, you're either going to trust him 100% or you're not. It's not no, you know, in-between stage where you're trying to figure out what's going to happen. Like, you have to either trust him 100% or not, or do your own thing. And I remember I really, really wanted this job.
This one?
I'm not going to, no.
Oh,
I'm not going to say, yeah. And I didn't get it. And I thought I was going to get it. And I didn't get it. And I was so mad at, yes. No, and I was so mad at him. Like, I was, oh my gosh. I felt like that was it. Like, I was like, oh, I'm done with this. And I've never said, like, I'm done with my faith or anything. But that moment, I knew that I was just like, when I went to sleep that night, I was like, the devil is hard on me. Like, he is trying to come and get me, and I will not. And I apologized to God the next day, and I was like, I'm so sorry for being mean and like saying, like, I just felt like I was talking to him.
Emotions.
Yeah. And so so we went through a lot, but I think at the end of the day, I had to make the decision to say, I'm going to trust God and whatever, because he did not bring me this far. Even if I'd never worked in TV again, that was just that's what I'm supposed to be doing. That's the destiny that he has for me. So,
and when you do more too.
Yes.
In addition to TV, which we'll also talk about.
Yeah.
No, I get, you know, the jobs you didn't get are like huge blessings, because I remember when I was like dead set on moving to Florida. And I used to wake up every day trying to apply in this one city to get to Florida, and like it just wasn't working. And I wanted to be there so bad, and it didn't work out. And then like maybe a couple weeks later, that's when my boss at the time was like, you know, before, because they had to sign off on everything being in the same company, that I was applying, and say like, oh yes, we know she works here now, she's gonna apply to this new job. And him saying, oh, well, I don't think you should go to Florida just yet. Like, we might have something for you here. And that was in Cleveland, which is where I ultimately wanted to be. But I just think sometimes, like, the blessings of not getting something. Because if I would have been in Florida, I would have been miserable. Like, he knew.
Yeah.
It's like sometimes you just don't get it, even when it's like,
just don't. I still don't understand why I'm here.
Yeah.
Like,
and you might not.
Yeah.
For a while.
Yeah.
You're good at a lot of things, and I think that can be tough when you're good at a lot of things, because like, what do I focus on? But I also think like the part of that nobody tells you about following your dreams is sometimes the dream you have for yourself is smaller than the dream that like, you know, is really gonna happen.
Yeah.
Like, that's smaller. Like, but you're thinking, because it happened to me before. Like, I used to think like, these are my skills. I can only use if I don't use my skills in this way, then I'm not gonna get to wherever it is I made up in my mind to go. And you have like a million different things you're good at. Like, you've done radio, you write, you know, you mentor girls. So like, you know, your vision or what you think your dream, that's probably only one part of it. Like, you can use these skills like a whole bunch of different places. So. It never stops. Like, there's, I think for everybody, like, you climb to the top of the mountain only to find like there's a whole nother one. But for you, you're in a new market, and so you're getting your stuff situated here, and you were saying your dad pointed out something to you.
Yeah, I want to say two things. I think it's important also to let people know that on your journey, just like what you were saying, to piggyback off of what you were saying, you know, you're going to run into to me it's destiny. It's God's destiny. It's the path that you're supposed to go on. Your other passions. And so if I had never went to Bakersfield, California and stuck it out through the ups and the downs, I never would have established For Girls Only. I never would have figured out what was in my heart. That was in my heart since my mom died. And I couldn't, through all of those experiences that I had with women, I never would have been able to brainstorm that and see that vision if I wasn't in that space in Bakersfield. So for me, my advice to other people that are looking for their dreams, be open to the other things that God brings in your life or those passions. Don't ignore those thoughts or those dreams. Like start, if you're at your lowest point, I don't care if you're sleeping in your car, if you can't afford rent or whatever the fact, just try to lock into your creative juices and like figure out what's the real meaning behind this. Why am I here, God? Like that's what I always would ask him. Why am I here in Bakersfield? Show me.
I don't know why I'm here. Yes. And then it's like you have For Girls Only, and then like go back a little bit because I don't think everybody knows what you started and why you did it.
So my mom died when I was very young, when she died, I became like the mom of the house, and my dad took care of us, and my aunt came and she lived with us and helped us. But also throughout that journey, throughout me being, you know, in junior high, high school, all of that, I had women in my life that would pour into me. And I'm not just talking about a woman that I met at school. It would be special women that would come into my life, spiritual women that I felt like were called by my mom and God. I felt like they were coming into my life to help me, and they did. And they would bring me up and pour love into me, the love that I needed. And so I wanted to be that person for these young girls that don't have a mom, or they don't have a dad, or they're having a difficult time in school.
You're being the person you needed.
Yes, yeah.
And you said it, like, I mean, the girls there, they were like, you hung out with them a lot.
Yes, the girls in Bakersfield, I love them so much. And they were very, when we talked, I would just say, we're not talking about my work. We're not going to talk about that. I want to talk about when I was young and I lost my mom, and you know how I was feeling. So that's why I started For Girls Only.
I love it.
And my dad, back to this. Okay, so my dad showed me a picture. We went to elementary school together at Garrity, and it was our 5th grade ceremony. And so my dad shared a picture with me recently with my mom. She has stage 4 colon cancer. So at that time, she didn't have much hair. She looked sickly, very skinny. And so when my dad sent me the picture, I said, Dad, you know, I don't like looking at pictures like with mom like that, because my mother was very beautiful, so I don't like to see her like that. And so he said, well, I see something different when I look at that. And he was telling me at that time, 5th grade graduation, I had so many awards. I won so many awards. And then I also won Citizen of the Year award. And he told me how happy my mother was. And he said, I look at that little girl and I see someone who is about to lose her mother, knows she's about to lose her mother, and continued the race and did not stop because of whatever was going on in her home life. She excelled, you know, she persevered. So he was just reassuring me that anything that I'm going through right now in my life as an adult, I already got this. Yeah. It's done. You know, I've survived one of the hardest things that any child can go through, and I kept going. And so I think that's my message to other young girls and other young boys. Like, no matter what, you got to keep going, because this life is going to move on with or without you. And you just gotta believe in yourself, and you gotta know how to handle what comes, what life is going to throw at you, because it's going to throw a lot of stuff.
Yeah. And I mean, you've already, like, you've already been through it. I think it's like, you know, what you're saying. That's what I take away from that is like, sometimes you forget, like you were saying, you just move so quick, like you forget to take inventory. Like, oh wait, I forgot. Like I went through all this.
Right.